forget to hit that subscribe button. Also hit that bell to be notified for future videos. Welcome back, guys, to the fish tank. I am Cole. Today we're going to start a new segment called No Rod to Hot Rod. We're going to start with a casting that I started about a year and a half ago and finally got to it. We were working on a Hot Wheels 32 Ford Coupe. We're going to build it into a rat rod, and it's going to be something totally different. I hope you enjoy. So, this is what we're starting with. Just the casting of the car. And what we're going to do to start out is I'm going to grab my file. And I'm going to smooth it down. So, the background story of this car is I chopped the roof off of it about a year and a half ago and painted it. But I didn't like how it looked. So, I started over. And I decided to do that this week for you guys. I'm sorry again for not posting a lot of videos about diecast cars. We are going to get back on schedule. Don't you worry. We got another video coming out this Saturday. You guys will enjoy that too. Anyways, my goal for this car was to extend and lower at the same time. So I was going to extend the front end and I was going to lower the back wheels. So it was pretty much slammed to the ground. And we did achieve that. But first, before anything, I decided to smooth down the area where I cut off the roof. Just make sure it was smooth enough. And eventually I did cut off the rest of it because I didn't like how it looked. Now we're going to move on to our Dremel tool. We are going to grab our wire brush to smooth out the area that we just smoothed down with the file, just so you won't like cut your finger or anything. Now we're gonna do it. Next, we are going to cut off this piece that held on the original motor. We did not keep the original motor, but we did keep the original grill, because the original motor was too small and I did not like it. The bigger the better, you know? Everything's bigger in Texas. That's the statement that I hear. So, let's begin cutting this off. This was a difficult thing to record, not gonna lie. Having a tripod in front of you and then you having a wheel disc. Cutting off a piece of a diecast car. I was actually scared because the disc grabbed a lot and I almost had the whole casting get thrown across the room. But luckily I held on to it and it did not do that. Also, I cut halfway through it and then went over to grab some pliers and ripped off the rest of the casting. Now, once that piece is gone, I grab my file again to smooth it down. After about 3 minutes of doing this, yes, this video is sped up, I realized the Dremel was sitting right in front of me with the cutting disc, and I was like, why am I doing this when I could just have my cutting disc? So that's what I did, because I wanted it as smooth as humanly possible. And honestly, it looks a little weird, but honestly, I like how it looked and turned out. So, that's all that's important. So we do grab our disc again, and then we smooth it out. Make sure, if you do this, A, if you're underage, have a parent, and B, make sure you are putting the casting as smooth against the cutting wheel as possible. It'll just make a better cut and it'll make your product look 10 times better. Again guys, I'm sorry for not showing a lot. This car was on and off for about a year and I got really excited doing it, so I recorded all of the stuff that I could when I could. Let's move on to paint. So what we did for paint for this car was a two-tone. I started with a silver metallic base, and then I put it on a two-tone with black on the top and the rear of the car. I think it turned out great. This is a classic rat rod look. Well, clean rat rod, not destroyed. But let's move on to our base. Here's our base. I told you I extended the front and I used metal tubing. Here's our wheels, front and rear. We got fatties for the rear and thins for the front. Custom axles for both. Used metal tubing for front and back. And we are using Gorilla Glue to glue all of our products back on. Just dab a little bit and put it down. Make sure, I would recommend use tweezers or something just to push it down so you don't have to put your fingers on it, because your fingers will stick very easily. On this part of the video, I felt something on my finger and it was very weird. And then I decided to do this. So I hope you enjoy my fiascos of pulling a piece of steel wool out of my finger. After that fiasco, let's get back to the build. So, we put our front wheels on, we glued them. Now, let's move to our rear wheels. So, all I did was dab a little glue on the rear axle, and I pushed the wheel snug. Make sure the wheels are straight, because if you don't, they will roll weird. Make sure your front and rear have enough glue on them so they will sit. Next, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to grab my grill from the original casting, and I'm going to grab two lights. Very small pieces, but I had some in inventory, so I had to use them. They were perfect, and it was like they were meant for this car. It looks like it came from Hot Wheels, how I did this. If you look behind it, it looks a little weird, but in the front, it looks perfect. And it went on perfect. You'll see that in the next clip. And like I told you, here it is. Here is our front end and our headlights. Well, front grille is what I should say. And our base. It turned out awesome. This car was just something that came into my mind, and I was thinking about it, and I just had to do it. Now let's move on to our engine. A lot of you might remember this engine. This is the same engine that I used in our GTX video a couple months ago. But I added custom exhaust from metal tubing that I had sitting around. Yes, I know, doesn't look accurate, but it will look cool on the car. So now I got my testers chrome silver out, and I'm gonna paint them silver to match the engine as close as possible. Remember guys, this is more of a resto mod than a rat rod, but remember guys, this is my segment of no rod to hot rod. So pretty much the meaning of this segment was to have something that was pretty much nothing or pieces, and you build it into a beautiful hot rod. I will probably do another one of these videos, but I'll make it into an actual rat rod full of rust, holes, all that stuff. But this time around I wanted to make a nice hot rod. If you guys have any suggestions for my next no rod to hot rod, please let me know in the comments. I do read them all, and I do like them all, and I do comment back, so I do like your feedback. Also, if you do like the video, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on that bell to be notified for future videos. So, back to the motor here. I covered as much of the pipes here that I could as possible. You wouldn't believe how hard these were to put on. I had to use 2 sets of tweezers and a pair of pliers just to put them on the correct way, or the way I wanted it. And yes, if you're wondering, they are spread out enough on the sides that it does fit snug. It was like it was meant to be there on the plastic base. Yes. And also, there's a lot of the excess glue on there. If you look very closely, it makes it look like welds, so it makes it really, really cool. And I actually like how the glue affected this build this time around. So guys, in a minute here, we are going to go to our final assembly, and then we're going to see what we started with, and then we're going to show the final results. I'll see you in a minute. Hey guys, welcome back to the final part. So, here's our base, all put together. Turned out great. Wheels, front, the grille, the extension, beautiful. Now, here's our motor. Remember that we added the exhaust. We did detail on the engine itself, and also on the exhaust. There's that that welding I was talking about. Here is our body with our two-tone paint. It did bleed a little bit, but it wasn't too bad, and where it bled is where tires cover it, so it didn't really matter. Looks great. Here is our glass. I actually took this glass out of this car and just cut the front right out of it, and we're going to glue that onto the casting. And here's our interior. Very simple. So guys, I have some good news. I did find the original picture. This is what the car started as. It was just a 32 Coupe that I cut the roof off of, and it just didn't look right. So this is what we started with today. If you remember, just the simple body, and we added everything else afterwards. This car was awesome. I had so much fun doing it, and I'm glad it took as long as it did to finish. Here's our final result, guys. Just look at that. It came together perfectly. I honestly think this is one of my best builds. Guys, thank you for watching. If you want to stay tuned to the end, there is a couple pictures of the car. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope all is healthy and safe, and we will see you in the next one. Bye guys.